Hey everybody, welcome to the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame. I'm Lucas Huff, your bartender this evening, and I work at Bentley Heritage Estate Distillery. For those of you who don't know what Bentley Heritage is, let's take a look. Hey, I'm Lucas Huff, Director of Brand Advocacy for Bentley Heritage Estate Distillery. And right now we're standing on Bentley Ranch, just over the hill from South Lake Tahoe in the Carson Valley. Bentley Heritage was built on the precedent of celebrating nationally recognized spirits. We wanted to take those principles and bring them here to the United States and mainly Northern Nevada. So we're here inside the mill building production area where we make all of our single malt whiskeys. Now, since our whiskeys are going to be sleeping in the barrel for the next couple of years, we wanted to review the items that we have available in the wholesale market today. The first one is going to be Source One vodka. This is going to be an oat-based vodka with a little bit of wheat blended in to bring it back to a neutral spirit. The next one is going to be our sherry rested vodka. This vodka is the same Source One vodka that's rested in used Oloroso sherry wine barrels. For the first of our gins, we have a tip of the hat to the London Dry style. So this is our American Dry gin that's very citrus forward and punchy, great in cocktails. And then for almost a sipping gin or a New World contemporary style gin, we have our Atrium gin that has a handful of flowers in there, get beautiful lavender and Egyptian chamomile. So we hope you enjoyed taking a look at what we're up to here at Bentley Heritage. As you can see, we're extremely passionate about the product that we're putting in the bottle. From the time the grain's coming out of the ground to the time that we're filling these bad boys up, you can really elevate your at-home cocktail experience with Source One or Juniper Grove. You can take it from me, or you can try it yourself. All right, welcome back. And as much as I'd like to show you how to make this cocktail in person or even make it for you, we're gonna learn how to make this in the comfort of our own home. Now, this cocktail has been our #1 seller in the tasting room for a while now, and it uses probably our most unique product, which is this Source One vodka rested in used Oloroso sherry wine barrels. And you don't typically see a vodka rested in oak, so I really like to use this in some different applications. We're gonna use this in an old fashioned, sweeten it up with a little maple syrup and orange bitters, and make a nice easy drinking cocktail. So we'll start with about 2 ounces of this guy right here, and then about 1/4 ounce of maple syrup, just to bring out a little bit of the sweetness, a little bit of the fruit characteristic in that Source One vodka. Next, we'll do 3 dashes of orange bitters here. Bitters is gonna bring out a little citrus, make it tasty, and then there's some ice in here. We don't want to shake this cocktail. Shaking this cocktail is going to over dilute it. We're just going to do a nice quick stir, bring a little bit of the water in there and stretch it out a bit, and then pour it straight over ice in our rocks glass. Now, after you pour this out, this can be garnished with a cherry or an orange peel. Personally, I'm a cherry guy. So we'll drop one of these in here just like that. And if you want to reference this recipe again, the print material has been provided to you. If you have any questions, you just give me a call. That's okay. I'm here. Cheers, everybody.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Ray, Dean of the University Libraries and Teaching and Learning Technologies. We're delighted to have you with us this evening for the 33rd Annual Nevada Writers Hall of Fame. For the first time in our 33-year history, we are not able to meet in person. But here at the University Libraries, we didn't want to pass up the chance to get together and celebrate our talented Nevada literary voices, even if it meant having to do it virtually. Our love and appreciation go out to Marilyn Melton for envisioning the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame in 1988. For her fortitude in bringing it to life, and for her great love of Nevada and its literary figures. We are extremely grateful to Larry Struve for creating and supporting the Silver Pen Award, which recognizes up-and-coming literary talent. We would also like to recognize our special guest, Provost Kevin Carmen, who has joined us this evening. Tonight, the University Libraries is proud to present our first ever virtual event as we celebrate and showcase the many talents of our honorees. On that note, Thanks to you, Robert Leonard Reid, the 2018 Hall of Fame inductee, for sharing your talent and love of Nevada with us this evening and bringing this beautiful piano to life. And thank you, Lucas Huff, for creating our signature cocktail that reportedly tastes like autumn in a glass, and for giving us an intriguing peek into the exquisite beauty of the Bentley Heritage Estate Distillery. And now, waiting for us upstairs in the Leonard Room here in the Mathewson IGT Knowledge Center is our host for this evening, Mark Maynard. We love Mark for many reasons. Since 2019, he's been the chair of the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame Selection Committee, which is no small feat. Mark teaches at Truckee Meadows Community College and serves on the editorial advisory board of the University of Nevada Press. He is currently enrolled in the Master of Journalism program here at the University of Nevada, Reno, and was our 2015 Nevada Writers Hall of Fame Silver Pen awardee. The man is busy, so we can't thank him enough for helping us to create and plan this first ever virtual variety show style Nevada Writers Hall of Fame event, and he's hosting it. With our deepest thanks, Mark, let's head up to the Leonard Room and start the show.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2020 Nevada Writers Hall of Fame event, live from the University of Nevada Knowledge Center. This evening, we're going to gather as a community of writers, readers, and lovers of literature and fun, and celebrate the words and people of the Silver State. Come on in and make yourself comfortable. And welcome to all of our viewers at home, as well as some of the folks that have gotten together at safe, socially distanced viewing parties at writers' watering holes across the state. Hello to our friends at the Nib in Mina, the Second Draft Sports Bar in Sparks, and the Temple Beth Israel in Summerlin. I'm honored to be part of this evening. When Robin Monteith and I began planning this event several months ago, we knew it was going to be a challenge. But we soon realized that the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame is a living, breathing institution, which makes it unique among Hall of Fames. For example, by the time a band is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's gone through 5 drummers, 3 lead singers, 2 breakups, and multiple greatest hits albums. And once someone slips into the banana custard sport coat of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, his playing days are long behind him, knees shot, bell rung, and glory fading. The best thing about the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame is that its inductees and Silver Pen Award winners are still producing some of the best work of their careers. Tonight, we'll be showcasing some of that ongoing work with a new poem from inductee Gailmarie Pahmeier and new work from Silver Pen winner Christopher Coake. And we'll see the various talents of other past winners and inductees. So please, wander around, make yourself at home, and enjoy your evening with us. Right now, we'll head up to the Poetry Salon, where some of our inductees and award winners from years past will share a performance piece of Gailmarie Pahmeier's Where Do You Go from Tonopah, from her newest collection of Bone, of Ash, of Ordinary Saints.
Where Do You Go from Tonopah by Gailmarie Pahmeier. Because the Mizpah Hotel has clawfoot tubs, this is where you stop.
The place has its own ghost, a good story about the lady in red.
It said she was murdered here, discovered by her husband in the arms of her young love.
She'd have lived to wear her lace and heels if it hadn't been for the train being late.
Her husband missing his connection, stopping in for a cold drink, seeing her, seeing him ascend the steep stairs.
In Nevada, it's always about trains, drinks, connections missed and made, and wholly imagined.
Because, you're told, Tonopah is for those with a thirst for adventure, you venture into the long shot bar.
order steaks, a fine red wine, and arguably the best margarita between Reno and Las Vegas.
Listen to some old man chat up the young couple from Henderson who say this is the farthest north they've been exploring their new state.
Transplants from Atlanta. The old man says, this is the real Nevada.
But suggests they also make Elko, Winnemucca, decent towns he's fond of, would live in, given...
And because you love books and the beauty of dust, you'll spend hours wandering the dense aisles of Whitney's bookshelf.
Where paperbacks are $1, hardbacks $2. And what you'll take home is a first edition hardback John Gardner's on moral fiction.
Inside is a personal inscription, June 1978. Bob, it says, keep writing in New York City.
Thanks for all your help these years in Tonopah. Best of luck. I'll miss you here. Love, Jim.
Welcome back. Now we're going to send it over to my guest, Silver Pen winner Christopher Coake, to hear what it's like to have your novel made into a film in a language you don't speak. And thanks for checking in with us back here at the library. We've got lots of friends, old and new, tuned in. A big shout out to the folks watching on the old black and white TV behind the bar at the Stet Saloon in Belmont. Hello to everyone at the Lone Eagle Quill in Incline Village, and out at the Revision Motel in Winnemucca. And now, I'd like to send it over to my friend Chris.
Thank you very much, Mark. Hello, everyone. Like a lot of you, certainly, I have been working from home for the past 8 months, eating my feelings and wearing sweatpants. These are the only nice clothes I have that fit me even a little bit, so I'm especially grateful to the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame for putting me on your computer screens tonight. Thank you to Mark, thank you to Robin Monteith and all the crew here at the Knowledge Center for putting this event together. So my duties tonight, as I understand them, is to talk to you all for a little while about what I have been up to since winning a Silver Pen, which was several years ago now. As Mark alluded, I've got some news to tell you about a movie that just happened this year, but there's some other things that I want to tell you about too that I'm very proud of. In 2013, the University of Nevada, Reno, my employer, I worked there as a professor of English, gave me and several other people permission to start up a Master of Fine Arts program in creative writing. And we began to prepare that, propose it, put it through the system. And in 2015, we took our first class on the campus. Since that time, we have graduated 3 full classes. We've got a full contingent of students who are still studying right now. We're very, very proud of the work that they've been doing. We have excellent writing faculty on campus. We've been able to hire 3 other people in that time to come join us. I want to give a special shout out to some of our students who have been already putting really important work into the world. Our graduated poet, Joanne Malari, has a chapbook that just came out. Our poet, Matthew Baker, has a chapbook that came out last year. And just last month, my former thesis advisee, Canadian-Romanian writer Raluca Balasa, just put out her first science fiction novel, Blood State, available from the Canadian Press Renaissance Books. I'm very proud of all of them. A lot of our writers are from Nevada, some aren't. Some are going to stick around Reno. So I have every confidence that in the future, some of them are going to be Silver Pen winners. And if I'm lucky enough to live so long, perhaps I will see one of them inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other thing that I want to talk about that just recently happened is that after watching my students work very hard and complete books while teaching and taking classes and being annoyed by me all day long, I decided that I better practice what I preach and get back into the habit of writing. So recently I completed a new book, my second short story collection called You Would Have Told Me Not To, which came out just this summer from Delphinium Books, an independent press distributed nationally by HarperCollins. These are short stories that are about fractured relationships, staying fractured or coming back together. They're very definitely about toxic masculinity and the damage done by men who can't quite figure out how to be men. They are about people realizing that they've made terrible mistakes and trying to take or not take the next steps. As I mentioned, this came out on July 28th during the heart of the lockdown. So if you didn't hear about it, that's because we couldn't really promote it apart from a reading at Sundance Books. So I wanted to hold it up here for you right now. Sundance is still selling copies of this, and if you order off their website, you can tell them that you would like a copy inscribed, and I'm happy to stop by and do that. So if you're looking for a Christmas gift to unsettle the problematic men in your life, this is available in great quantity. So the other thing I want to talk to you about, as Mark alluded to, is that there's a film in the world now based on something I wrote. Back in 2012, published a novel called You Came Back. If you don't know about this book, it is set in Columbus, Ohio, where I lived for nearly 10 years. It's set in the present day. It's about a man named Mark, great name, who is some years past the accidental death of his young son in his home. He and his son's mother have divorced, and Mark is just about ready to become engaged to someone else. He's trying to figure out how to move on with his life. And that's when the woman who has bought his old house finds him and tells him that she believes that house is haunted by the ghost of his son, calling out for his dad, and would he please come and do something about it. So this is a book that's about grief and trauma and how we overcome those things. Also, for some reason, I'm compelled to mention that it is about the very dangerous consequences of believing in things for which there is no evidence, and the damage that we can do our friends and neighbors and loved ones, by following up on that rather than believing the things for which there is evidence. I don't know, for some reason, I just wanted to say that right now. And so one of the things that happened after this book was published was that it was translated into Italian. I don't know why that is. I have never been to Italy. I don't speak Italian. I could not tell you any reason why anything I wrote would resonate at any level of Italian society or culture. Nevertheless, the book went over to Italy, and I never heard a thing about it. I never saw reviews. I never saw sales figures. As far as I was concerned, the book, after they sent me 2 copies, all the others were pulled from the shelves and perhaps burned. I have been in touch for years with my Italian translator, a lovely guy named Corrado. We are Facebook friends to this very day, and we would have great exchanges while the book was getting put into the world, like, what does it mean to be quiet as a church mouse? And then we talk about how to refer to language like that. So I trust that the stories I wrote managed to make it to Italy intact. Another thing that I would want to tell you as backstory is that it's not uncommon for filmmakers to sniff around the work that fiction writers do. And one of the things that I learned very early is not to get very excited about that. I've had a story that's been under option for over 10 years. It's been attached to 2 different directors. I've seen a screenplay. People have promised me it's going to get made. It's never going to get made, and I understand that. You Came Back was optioned by an American producer, one of the people who brought you Godfather Part 3, so you know that they're into quality. And that movie was never made. So 2 years ago, when I was told that some Italian producers were thinking about adapting You Came Back into a film, I didn't get very excited. But Italian producers are different from American producers because apparently they don't get involved in a process like this unless they really need to do it. So very quickly, we were signing a contract, which was exciting for lots of reasons. Unrelated event, my house just got painted. But another thing in that contract, which was really super exciting to me and my wife, Stephanie, was that the producers promised to fly us to the premiere wherever and whenever that would take place. This is foreshadowing. So one way in which Italian producers are very much like American producers is that they don't care about the feelings of writers at all. There was no language in the contract, and I didn't want any language in there about contributing to the creative life of this film. But I did expect that maybe they'd email me every once in a while and tell me what was happening with it. They didn't. So I got in the habit of stalking this movie on the internet. And that's how I found out anything that I knew about it, that it was going to begin filming last November, which it did, that it was going to be set in Venice. Somehow my story in Columbus, Ohio was getting set in this beautiful old city in Europe. I found out that one of the movie's stars was going to be Valeria Galeener, whose work I knew, and maybe you know it too. She was Tom Cruise's girlfriend in Rain Man. She was Charlie Sheen's girlfriend in Hot Shots, exclamation point. And she was in the terrific movie that was put on Hulu last year during lockdown called Portrait of a Lady on Fire, playing the cruel mom in that movie. And that one's terrific, and you should all see it. So I was very excited about all of these things. I found out that they filmed in Venice during the floods there last winter and got in big trouble and had to apologize to the mayor. So I was excited to learn more about all of this, and then COVID happened. As you all surely know, COVID hit Italy very badly before we felt its effects here. And then it hit here. So if I was thinking about the movie at all, it was only to worry about it. I didn't know if they'd finished filming. I didn't know how long it was going to go into production, or how long until it went into production. And I really didn't think to check in on it until this summer. And when I did, I found out to my shock that the movie was finished and had been selected to close the Venice Film Festival, which was going to be held in person. It was the first major film festival that was going to be held in person after the COVID lockdown in Europe. And I want to be clear, this is an excellent problem to have. I am very happy to be sitting here healthy and with an Italian movie out there in the world. But my wife and I were more than a little sad that we were not going to be able to go, because we found this out right at the exact same time that travel to Europe was suspended. We asked, there was nothing that could be done. This is force majeure language in a contract, act of God, what are you going to do? So the best I could do was get one of the movie stars to promise to tell me about the premiere on Instagram. He didn't. The movie hit screens for the very first time in September at the exact moment that I was in a Zoom department meeting for work. I managed to put up a picture of the red carpet as my background and try not to be too grumpy. And then the movie went into wide release in Italy on October 8th. I've still not seen it. I have asked and asked. They've promised to send me a signed poster, which is great. That's the same as going. But I don't know what's in this film. I don't know what they've done to it. The best I have been able to do is find some reviews and run them through Google Translate. And I'm going to read you some quotes from those right now. Again, these are Italian publications run through Google. On this side, however, Let Me Go, that's the name of the film now, Lasciami andare, has the misfortune to run into one of those cases in which Stefano Accorsi, the main actor, disfigures from the first to the last frame and from the first to the last bar, while the rest of the also titled cast seems to adapt in an assorted sequel of emphasis, forced poses, and stereotypes. I think that's negative. The next one, the script lacks the pathos that would have made the plot more credible and exciting. 20 good minutes are basically useless. The philosophical brackets are thrown here and there and not particularly developed. In fact, if we eliminated the scenes that do not have the city reflected in the lagoon and removed the voices of the actors, we would have a short film focused on the lesser known alleys and buildings of the city. One last one. Here, however, feelings of guilt, regrets, remorse, desire for redemption, second opportunities create a mixture that takes different directions, disperses interest, retraces its steps, alludes, and plays with ellipses. 6.8 out of 10. So I don't know if it's any good. My favorite review, though, and this is one of the last things I'm going to tell you, came to me from a former student of mine, a guy who took my workshop 2 years ago here in Reno. He's now living in Italy, and he wrote me on Facebook last month to say this. Hey, Chris, wanted to reach out and tell you that I went to go see Lasciami andare this evening at a local theater. I should tell you right now, my Italian isn't amazing, so I admittedly didn't follow every bit of dialogue. However, I went with an Italian girl. Thank you very, very much for giving me the ultimate flex of, yes, that name in the credits is a former writing professor of mine. The date went largely well due to that, I think. Then he talks for a little bit about how he thinks the movie is pretty good. All in all, I really enjoyed it, and more importantly, as a local and someone fluent in the language, so did she, quite a bit. 4 thumbs up from us. So whether or not I can take any artistic pride or take any credit whatsoever for however this movie is doing, I can at least rest easy knowing that I helped a former student of mine succeed in a date. Now, I have not seen the film, but we were able to talk the production company for this very event tonight into sending a nice digital copy of the trailer with English subtitles. We're going to show that to you right now.
Lei ha perso un figlio. È stato un incidente, vero?
Io e Anita aspettiamo un bambino. Nascerà la prossima estate.
Non ce la faccio. Mio figlio Giacomo ha confessato che nella sua stanza appare un bambino. Se ci fosse anche solo una possibilità.
Non c'è.
Tu in quella casa non ci devi più andare.
Non dovrebbe giocare così con le persone.
O forse è obbligata a fare qualcosa. Ma è così difficile per te accettare la verità?
Che cosa è successo quel giorno?
Sta succedendo una cosa inquietante.
Non è una coincidenza. È un segno. È deciso di credere a quella donna.
Quello che è successo quel giorno non è colpa sua.
Like I said, I've not seen the movie, but after I watched that trailer again, I gotta tell you, I think the reviews are incorrect. This is probably going to be a towering classic of world cinema. I have no tolerance for alcohol, so I don't get to drink this until we're all finished. But before I throw it back to Mark, let's say what the Italians say, salute. Mark?
Salute. And grazie, Chris. That means thank you, I think. And now, slip on your boots and your dusters as we take a quick jaunt out the back door and head out to the ranch, where our friend Waddie Mitchell is going to give us a short tour of his workspace and talk about where he finds his inspiration. And thanks for tuning in to our friends at The Blurb in Ely, The Manuscript in Mesquite, and to the late night diners at Comma Coffee in Carson City. And now, over to you, Waddie.
Welcome to the ranch. My name's Waddie Mitchell, if you don't know, and I've been asked if I won't share with you my process in writing. I didn't even know I had a process till I was asked to share it. I would say that there's a number of things that go into anybody's process. Oftentimes, you'll do a lot of studying on a subject before you decide you can write about it. I write about cowboys and the cowboy life, and so that's my subject. As you can see, on the ranch here, it's quiet. We're over a mile from the nearest neighbor. We are up here by ourselves, and if this doesn't inspire writing, I don't know what will. I'll take you around to a couple other places that I'll scribble things down to. Well, this is my office, and it used to get the most work. I know roll top desk here. I would sit here for hours and hours and write at it. And then my wife, who was computer literate, decided that maybe I ought to get that way. And I bought one of them great big Mac computers, and I'll be honest with you, it scared me. I'd run that little mouse around and I'd run that little arrow off and I could never get it back on the screen. I had a heck of a time. Still, I can only snort and kick at it. I can't use it. So about 8 years ago, she come up with an idea and got me an iPad, and it's kind of like finger painting. I didn't know how to type, but I learned on that iPad. It's just one of them things that has saved my life. So it's given me the opportunity to not only write on the porch on nice days, but here for the comfort of the office. And I've got a sound studio, and I've got another little recording situation to where I can hear what the words sound like. To me, it's very important to get the music in the language. And although it sounds good in your mind, putting it on paper, oftentimes I need to hear it before I say, yes, that's it. Then there's the other place I write. So this is the place I love to spend most time in this house. This is my library. It gives me some comfort. I don't know why that is. Books might be going out nowadays. People don't seem to want them, but those of us that have had them, they become almost close friends, and you're there. And they somehow inspire me when I'm around here. So in this massage chair, and with the new kind of lamps that duplicate the sun's light, which makes me be able to write without eye fatigue for at least 2 hours longer in the evening time. And so I've got all this set up in comfort, and with an iPad, I just start writing. And it's a beautiful thing. I didn't ever learn to type, so that was a little bit of a problem. When I first started, I'd yell at my wife, "Lisa, there's no K on this thing." And she said, "Yeah, there's a K." And I said, "I've been over it 3 times." And she'd come in and just boot and touch that. Not long before I'd yell, "Lisa, there's no Q on this thing." But I learned finally to do it, and I learned how easy it is. Instead of writing and rewriting with a pencil, it's a whole lot easier to move stanzas around, things like that, with an iPad. I'm not saying that's the best thing for everybody to do, but they asked for my process, and to be honest with you, this is it. Comfort, no time limit, because that's something I can't do. I know a lot of people that wake up 8 o'clock in the morning, they're in their office and they're sitting there writing. No matter what it is, they are writing, and then they stop and have lunch and maybe a little nap and then go back to it and write until supper time. I am not that way. I have a hard time. If something's not there in my head, it's not there, and I don't try to find it. But if it becomes available to me and my mind starts to working, which doesn't happen that often anymore, but if it starts working, I'll get an idea in the middle of the night. I'll wake up knowing I've got to get it down because of my advanced age. It doesn't all come back to me in the morning. I'll put it down, and then the idea will start expanding, and there'll be about 3 days there I'll be pretty hard to communicate with or talked into getting out of my little writing space. I am still very bad about that, but once I start writing, I can't stop myself. And I shouldn't apologize for that, I guess, because that's great. That's what we writers like to do. And I'm still as thrilled with it now as I was as a young man starting out. Well, now we've talked about comfort and maybe, getting inspired, things like that. That's got to be part of the process. But one that I can't forget, a big part of my process, coffee. Need it. Drink a lot of it. I'll bet a bunch of other writers do too. But now that we've seen a little bit of where I live and get a work, I want to leave you with just one piece of wisdom. And it comes straight from me, so it's got to be good wisdom. Writer is a verb, not a noun.
Thank you so much, Waddie. We'll be listening for all those Ks and Qs. This year, we've decided to extend our celebration a bit, and we want to welcome all of our writers who'll be joining us for a group of workshops tomorrow, led by Silver Pen winners Jared Stanley, Christopher Coake, and yours truly. Our workshop tomorrow will be generative. You don't have to bring any work with you, but plan on leaving with some ideas and energy toward a new story or poem. We'll be working with a theme of before and after and plan on making it a fun couple of hours. Tomorrow's workshops are full, but we'll be holding another free Nevada Writers Hall of Fame workshop in the spring. We haven't set the exact date yet, but please feel free to sign up if you're interested, and we'll keep you posted on all the details. You can find the link at the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame webpage. Robin's gonna post that link in the chat right now. It's been so great to be able to sneak into the library together after hours, and I'm really excited about our next performance. I'm very pleased to invite you all down to the At One studio, where Silver Pen winner Mike Branch and his daughter Hannah, who heads up RAFT, the Reno Alliance for Tutoring, are recording their new album, The Jackalope Sessions, and they'll be performing a sweet love song to a nine-fingered lass. Take it away, you two.
Howdy, Mike Branch here, a proud Nevada writer, and I want to thank Mark and Robin and everybody whose hard work made this event possible. We look forward to it every year. And thanks to everybody out there for continuing to support the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame. Tonight, I'm looking forward to sharing with you not my writing, but a tune along with my daughter, Hannah.
Thank you. This is Bandit Queen by the Decemberists. As the sun is sinking low and the evening's tucked in tow, on the horizon my true love I see. She ain't fancy, she ain't fine, while her fingers number only 9. She's the belle of the ball of the insurgency. She's my bandit queen, laying beneath the moon, in a bandit cave, a blanket laid for two. If I could find a way to your hideaway by the sea, oh, bandit queen, steal away to me. Somewhere on a mountain by a starry water fountain, an alcove hid by some trees, amidst a pile of treasure, reclining at her leisure, my lady love sniffs at the breeze. And sitting up, she adjusts her turban and takes another swig from a bottle of bourbon, listening to the whistling of the train-in station. Odds are it'll never reach its destination, 'cause the bandit queen astride her steed will ride. Oh, let me be the one to lay within your thieving arms tonight. The bandit queen astride her steed will ride. Oh, let me be the one to lay within your thieving arms tonight.
Thank you, Mike and Hannah. And thanks to all of you that have joined us tonight from all over Nevada and beyond. This has been a long, strange year, and we were so happy we could get together virtually and celebrate the creativity, community, and support for an hour or so. Please take a moment to check out the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame webpage to learn a little more about our terrific honorees. There, you'll also find a link to Sundance Bookstore, where you can purchase the works of all of our authors who joined us this evening. I'd like to thank Dean Ray and the University Libraries Board, and a special thanks to the library's tech team for all of their amazing behind-the-scenes work tonight. And just a reminder that after the classes go virtual at Thanksgiving this year, the Knowledge Center will still be open and the dedicated staff will still be here to help. Finally, a great big thank you to Robin Monteith, who's done an amazing job of planning, coordinating, and pulling off this year's event. It's been a pleasure working with you on this, Robin. We will be back next year, ready to celebrate in person, to induct our newest member of the Nevada Writers Hall of Fame and honor our next Silver Pen Award winner, and share again in one another's company. Until then, curl up with a good book or 10, raise a glass of whatever you may have on hand, and join me in toasting all the folks who made this evening happen. We've got one final jewel to share with you after our thank yous and credits, so don't leave just yet. Thank you for being with us from wherever you are this evening to help us celebrate all of our great Nevada Writers Hall of Fame talent. We wish you and yours all the best as we close out this crazy year. And with that, we'll close out the evening with a bit of cowboy poetry from Waddie Mitchell.
Unclean night air is like its spare there spreads a mournful tune as old as blood. It flows and floods the world where cowboys croon. Weaned by a fence, one calf laments its mother's comforting. That brooding hum of grief becomes the sound a cowboy sings. Moonbeams trace a coyote's face, tip back to read the stars. Its tale of woe to friend and foe resound between the bars. Campfire light holds back the night and sparks chatter like old friends. It's a comfort zone that sets the tone where mood and time transcend. You're feeling old. Stiff joints scold as under tarp you climb, but soon you'll drift as thought gusts sift the ashes of your mind. And you're carried back where fiddlers hack out near forgotten strains of hope and chance and youth and dance, of innocence and pain. It's strange how songs from days long gone rekindle joys thought dead, how other tunes can open wounds sounds in a cowboy's head. Your memory swarm is pending storm, predicts its own onset. You re-ride bronc, re-honky-tonk, reword, rethink, regret. You'll never die, hell. You're young and spry, bullet and 100-proof. Dreams blend so well it becomes hard to tell your musings from the truth. Then lightning spark splits wide the dark, and sky drums echo loud. Limbs crack and break as old Zeus rakes cold moisture from a cloud. That wrath unfurled defines your world. Through it all you doze. All embers hiss at Aqua's kiss. All sounds a cowboy knows. Your eyes at dawn. Be moving on, for winter rides the air. You'll pack up camp, roll bedroll damp. But home ain't anywhere. You'll contemplate the whims of fate. That's been your map for years. And they've become your wife. No. Your whole life, the sounds a cowboy hears.
Thank you, everybody, and good night. See you next year.
Let me sing